And now, this world shall know pain. Almighty push!
Born, hidden in the rain, Nagato Uzumaki, a war orphan, saw his two parents brutally murdered in front of his eyes from Hidden Leaf Shinobi in a case of mistaken identity. This caused him to awaken the Rinnegan that was implanted into his eyes when he was just a mere child by Madara Uchiha, killing and becoming a war orphan. As a mere child, Nagato would become a wanderer, scavenging and begging outside of people's home for food, but because of the wealth divide between the rich and the poor, and the war-torn state of the country was in the time, no one offered him help. After walking for so long and nearly dying of exhaustion, he was found by Conan and taken back to a hideout where a boy by the name of Yahiko and Conan stole food to survive and stored it there. The three then became a trio, and after his dog gets killed in an explosion caused by the fighting of the three legendary Sannin and Hanzo of the Salamander, the three set out to find mentors to teach them ninjutsu so they have the ability to defend themselves. They then bump into the three legendary Sannin, and one of them, Jiraiya, stays to look after them for a while. However, after an attack by Konoha shinobi who attempt to murder Yahiko, Nagato consciously kills the shinobi to protect his friend. This causes him to fear himself and what he's capable of. However, Jiraiya, seeing Nagato kill the shinobi using the Rinnegan, decides to stay and teach the trio. After learning from Jiraiya that what Nagato has is a special power, he can use it for good, and it can be used to save other people, and he learns that he should embrace himself for who he is and what he has, and Nagato resigns himself to protect what he treasures most. After Jiraiya leaves the trio, they form the Akatsuki, who are a peace group that is used to solve problems without using violence if necessary, thus making their dream of peace a truer reality. However, after being betrayed by Hanzo of the Salamander, who was misled and manipulated by Danzo to believe that the Akatsuki were an organization that wanted war and were power-hungry individuals, Yahiko is killed on Nagato's kunai, causing him to lose control and summon the Gedo statue, making him crippled because of the sheer amount of power that he used. He goes on a rampage, killing a lot of Hanzo and Danzo's men. However, they both escape, and during the mayhem, Obito Uchiha, who's parading around as Madara, slaughters the rest of the organization, leaving just Conan and Nagato. This event caused Pain to change as a person, and now believe that if the world did not change, he would become a god and change it himself, which is a taboo role that no one should play. Pain was probably the most interesting and philosophical villain that is probably ever written. His philosophy made sense. Now, you may not agree with him and the way he went about trying to achieve his goal, but his philosophy to an extent was correct. If one does not experience similar pain to someone else, then they will never understand. An example in the real world is of a child who has never gone through war and has both parents who are alive, cannot sympathize and therefore bring change compared to one that has lost both their parents and gone through a war. However, if everyone in the world were to lose both parents, he would therefore be inflicting the same pain on others that was inflicted on him, causing people to understand each other because they would empathize with each other, thus bringing peace. Pain's dialogue, in my opinion, was the best dialogue in Naruto Shippuden. Why? Because it made the viewers look at both the hero's actions and the villain's actions and compare the two. Once you compared the two, you would recognize that both of their actions were quite similar. The only difference is that one would say justice while the other is doing it because he or she is evil and doing it in spite. This philosophy of bringing people together by causing them to empathize with each other through the similar pain they suffered caused Pain to turn the Akatsuki into an organization that went around collecting tailed beasts. The tailed beasts were essentially weapons of mass destruction that you could use to destroy and terrorize nations, causing everyone to feel the similar amount of pain and therefore create momentary peace while he was alive. Pain can be described as a utilitarian. The founder of this ideology was a man named John Stuart Mill. Utilitarianism is the theory of morality which advocates actions that foster happiness and oppose actions that cause unhappiness. For example, if 100 people are sat in a room and for 51 of them to be happy, the other 49 has to suffer, then that is what should happen according to a utilitarian ideal, as this is causing a greater amount of people to enjoy rather than suffer. However, this ideology could have two outcomes of the majority. When people are inflicted with pain, they either accept the pain, causing them to grow stronger as a person and therefore grow and become positive, making people attracted to them, therefore creating bonds with people, which in this instance pain as an ideology would therefore be correct. However, when you look at the other side of the spectrum, you have people who would go out their way to inflict this pain they feel inside on others, as they believe that when they feel pain, others should also feel the same pain, so they alone aren't the only ones suffering, and it's really a cry for help from them because they are consumed by negative energy. And since they aren't able to escape that on their own, all they really need is someone who can understand that pain and pull them out from the darkness in which they are trapped in. I personally agree with Paine's philosophy. However, the way in which Paine decided to show this and present this, in my opinion, was wrong. By causing more pain, of course you would be creating more people to empathize with and therefore less conflict. However, you are also creating the other side as well, and therefore more people like Paine himself who would carry on the cycle of hatred, as he liked to call it, and therefore it would never truly end. However, I am in no way disagreeing with Nagato and his philosophy, as it is a real philosophy and it's just his plan is more of a short-term fix for a fundamentally infinitely long plan. In the short term, there may be some successful outcomes, however, over more and more generations, it would fail and cease to work, causing arguably more indirect damage in the long term. However, a lot of fixes in the short term. You don't have to agree with how Paine went about trying to achieve his goal. I mean, he did kill Jiraiya, destroy the Hidden Leaf, kill off the Jinchurikis, try and become a god, so I don't expect you to like Paine. However, his philosophy was an eye-opener and made me question the so-called heroes in Naruto.